In the quiet hours of an ordinary Tuesday morning, the world as I knew it subtly shifted, as if tilting on an unseen axis. The sun, in its early glory, had barely managed to brush the dew off the grass, casting a soft, golden light that made the ordinary seem momentarily extraordinary. It was against this backdrop of a new day dawning that an unassuming envelope slipped through the mail slot of my door, landing with a whisper on the tile floor of the foyer. At first glance, it seemed like nothing more than a relic of a bygone era, the kind of envelope one might mistakenly overlook amid a pile of bills and circulars, plain, unadorned, save for my name, Elaine, etched in a handwriting so painfully familiar that it momentarily stole my breath. It was Charles's handwriting, my late husband's, whose presence in our home lingered like a silent whisper in the corners of each room. The days following Charles's funeral had merged into a blur of condolences and empty cups of tea, marked distinctly by the conspicuous absence of our sons, Ethan and Oliver. Their refusal to attend their father's final farewell had planted a seed of confusion and sorrow deep within me, a sorrow compounded by the silent questions that hung in the air, unanswered. Charles had been a stern man, of few words but fair actions, and his sudden passing had peeled back the layers of our family, revealing a rift I hadn't known was so profound. I hesitated before picking up the envelope, as if the act of touching it might somehow bridge the gap between the past and the present. Elaine, the handwriting beckoned, a call from beyond that I couldn't ignore. Clutching it, I retreated to the sanctuary of our study, a room still echoing with Charles's presence, where the scent of his aftershave lingered faintly among the books and papers. The letter inside was brief, its words heavy with a significance that seemed to weigh my hands down as I read. My dearest Elaine. If you are reading this, it means I am no longer here to keep the secret that I've guarded for so long. It is imperative that you discover the truth on your own, without our sons finding out. Go to 42, Pemberton Lane, to the old bookshop that harbors so many of our cherished memories. Seek out the copy of Great Expectations with the Golden Spine. Inside, you will find a key. Use it to unlock the safe hidden behind the shelf. There, the truth awaits you. Forgive me for the secrets I've kept. With love always, Charles. Frozen, I reread the letter, each word etching itself into my memory. The reality of my situation, widowed, estranged from my sons, clutching a letter from beyond the grave, felt like a narrative disconnected from my own. Yet, there it was, tangible in its urgency, its mystery. Why now, Charles? What truth? I murmured to the empty room, half expecting an answer from the shadows. With a resolve fortified by necessity and a heart heavy with trepidation, I knew what my next steps must be. Yet, as I prepared to delve into the mystery Charles had left behind, a part of me remained anchored in the past, in the memories of whispered conversations and laughter that once filled our home. Mom, are you okay? Ethan's voice, unexpected and concerned, broke through my reverie as he entered the room. His appearance, so like his father's, momentarily took me aback. Yes, I just found something from your dad, I replied, hastily folding the letter and tucking it away from view. The weight of the secret I was about to uncover pressed down on me, a silent promise to the man I had loved and the family we had built. What did Dad say? Ethan asked, stepping closer, a frown creasing his brow. It's something I need to figure out on my own, I said, mustering a smile that felt as fragile as glass. But I promise, once I know more, you and Oliver will be the first to hear. Ethan nodded, though his eyes clouded with unanswered questions. Okay, Mom. Just make sure you take care of yourself, alright? As he left, I was struck by the enormity of the task ahead. Charles's last request was not just a journey to uncover a hidden truth, but a path that might lead to healing the rifts within our family. With the letter as my guide, I stepped into the light of the day, determined to face whatever lay ahead, for the sake of our past and the hope of a future reunited. The journey to 42, Pemberton Lane, was a journey back in time. As the modern storefronts gave way to cobblestone streets and the quaint facades of yesteryear, I felt the weight of the present slowly lift, replaced by the anticipatory tingle of stepping into a past preserved in amber. The old bookshop, nestled between a forgotten haberdashery and a tea shop that seemed to whisper tales of a bygone era, stood as a defiant testament to the enduring power of stories. Its windows, framed by peeling paint, offered a glimpse into a world untarnished by the digital age, where each book was a doorway to another life, another time. Pushing open the door, the familiar chime of the bell greeted me like an old friend. The scent of aged paper and worn leather enveloped me, a comforting embrace that eased the knot of apprehension in my stomach. The interior was a labyrinth of towering shelves, each groaning under the weight of countless stories. Sunlight filtered through the dusty air, casting a soft, ethereal glow that seemed to dance across the spines of the books. "I haven't seen you around here in a while, Elaine," came a voice, warm and tinged with a note of surprise. I turned to find Mr. Penrose, the proprietor, emerging from the shadows of the back room. His hair, once peppered with black, now leaned more towards salt, yet his eyes still sparkled with the same keen intelligence and gentle humor. "It's been too long, Mr. Penrose," I replied, my voice a blend of nostalgia and sadness. "Charles, he left me something to find here." "Ah, Charles," he sighed, his expression softening. "A man of great taste and profound secrets, it seems. How can I assist you in this quest of yours?" I recounted the instructions from Charles's letter, watching as Mr. Penrose's brows arched in intrigue. "A copy of Great Expectations with a golden spine, you say? That's quite specific. Follow me, let's see if we can uncover this mystery together." We navigated the maze of shelves, each turn revealing new wonders and forgotten tales. The bookshop felt alive, a silent guardian of the past, its heartbeat the soft rustle of pages turning in the hands of unseen readers. "Here we are," Mr. Penrose announced, stopping before a section bathed in the golden light of the afternoon sun. "Dickens, a master of human nature and unexpected fortunes. It seems fitting, doesn't it?" My fingers trembled as they traced the bindings, the titles blurring before my eyes until they caught on the glint of gold. Great Expectations, its spine shimmering like a beacon. Pulling it from the shelf, a small, ornate key fell into my hand, its cool metal a stark contrast to the warmth of the leather. "Ah, so the legend is true," Mr. Penrose murmured, peering over my shoulder. "Charles always was a man of depth and layers. What do you suppose this key unlocks?" "A safe, hidden behind this very shelf," I whispered, feeling as though the room had hushed to listen. He said the truth awaits me there. Together, we shifted the shelf, revealing a small, inconspicuous safe nestled in the wall. My heart raced as I inserted the key, the click of the lock echoing like a gunshot in the silence. The door swung open, revealing not riches or scandal, but stacks of papers, photographs, and letters in a hand not my husband's. "Good heavens," Mr. Penrose exclaimed, his voice a mix of astonishment and respect. "What have you found, Elaine?" "Answers," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "Answers and more questions." We spent the next hour sifting through the documents, each piece of the puzzle revealing a story so unexpected, so profound, that it seemed to rewrite the history of my family. Charles had kept a secret, yes, but one born of love and loss, of decisions made in the shadows of tragedy. Charles did this for us, I mused aloud, the realization dawning like the first light of dawn. He wanted to protect us, to spare us the pain of the truth. Sometimes the hardest secrets to keep are the ones we hold out of love, Mr. Penrose said, his voice soft. "What will you do now, Elaine?" "I need to bring my sons home," I declared, a newfound determination stealing my resolve. "They deserve to know the truth, no matter how painful it may be. It's time to heal the rifts that have kept us apart." As I left the bookshop, the sun casting long shadows behind me, I carried not just the revelations of the past, but the hope of reconciliation. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but armed with the truth, I was ready to face them, to rebuild the bridges that secrets had eroded. The time capsule bookshop had offered me more than just a key, it had offered me a path back to my family. The revelation of the hidden safe behind the bookshelf in the old bookshop marked the beginning of a journey I never anticipated. With the ornate key in hand, a symbol of a truth long concealed, I felt as though I was about to lift the veil on a part of Charles's life, and by extension, our family's life, that had remained shrouded in mystery. The air in the bookshop seemed to thicken with anticipation, as if the very walls were holding their breath. As the safe door creaked open, I half expected to find something sinister lurking within its metal confines. Instead, I was met with an array of documents, photographs, and letters, each piece a thread in the intricate tapestry of our family's hidden narrative. "Look at this," I murmured, my voice a mixture of awe and disbelief as I carefully extracted a photograph. It depicted Charles, much younger, but unmistakably him, cradling 2 infants in his arms. Beside him stood a woman and a man, their smiles wide and genuine, but their faces were unfamiliar. Mr. Penrose, who had insisted on staying by my side, leaned in closer. "That's Thomas and Sarah," he said, his voice laced with a hint of sadness. "Charles's brother and his wife. Lovely people, they were." I turned to him, questions swirling in my mind. "You knew?" He nodded, his expression somber. "I did. Charles confided in me, years ago. Thomas and Sarah's death was a tragedy that hit him hard. He took in their boys, your boys, as his own. He wanted to protect them, to give them a life free of the shadow of that loss." I sifted through more documents, finding birth certificates that confirmed Mr. Penrose's words. Ethan and Oliver's names were there, but paired with a surname I had never known to be theirs. A letter, written in Charles's steady hand, lay beneath the certificates, its contents a confession and a plea. "My dearest Elaine," it began, "if you are reading this, then the time has come for the truth to surface. I have loved Ethan and Oliver as my own from the moment they came into our lives, a love no different than if they were of our blood. But the truth of their parentage is not mine to conceal, nor is it a burden they should carry without understanding. I have made many decisions in my life, but keeping this from you, from them, is the one I regret most deeply. Please forgive me. And please, help them understand." The weight of his words settled heavily upon me, a mix of sorrow for the secret he carried and a burgeoning resolve to honor his last wish. "Charles was always more concerned with protecting others than himself," Mr. Penrose said softly, breaking the silence. "He bore this secret to keep the peace, to keep you all together." I looked up from the letter, my resolve hardening. "And now it's my turn to keep us together, to bridge the gap this secret has created." Mr. Penrose placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. "It won't be easy, Elaine. But if there's one thing I know about you and Charles, it's that your love, your family's love, is stronger than any secret, any truth." As I repacked the documents, photographs, and the letter into a briefcase Mr. Penrose had provided, a plan began to form in my mind. I needed to confront Ethan and Oliver, to reveal the truth of their heritage and the depth of their father's love. "Thank you, Mr. Penrose," I said, clasping his hand in gratitude. "For everything." He smiled, a bittersweet curve of the lips. "Just doing my part, Elaine. Now, go. Your sons need you." Stepping out of the bookshop, the setting sun cast a glow that seemed to light my path forward. The road to reconciliation would be fraught with pain and misunderstanding, but armed with the truth and the love that had always defined our family, I felt a cautious hope. The hidden safe had offered me more than just secrets, it had given me the key to bringing my family back together. The journey home from the bookshop was a blur, my mind racing as I clutched the briefcase with the truth of our family tightly to my chest. The evening air, crisp and cool, seemed to whisper encouragements, urging me on despite the turmoil within. I knew that confronting Ethan and Oliver would be one of the hardest things I'd ever done, but the necessity of it pressed heavily on my heart. The house was quiet as I entered, a stark contrast to the cacophony of thoughts and emotions swirling inside me. I found Ethan in the living room, his focus on a book, the furrow between his brows a testament to his concentration. Oliver was there too, idly scrolling through his phone, a picture of detached interest. The normalcy of the scene before me felt surreal, given the weight of what I was about to disclose. "Ethan, Oliver," I began, my voice steadier than I felt. They both looked up, their expressions shifting to curiosity at the sight of the briefcase in my hands. "What's that?" Ethan asked, setting his book aside as he and Oliver moved closer. "I've discovered something. Something about our family, about your father, and about the two of you," I said, opening the briefcase to reveal the contents. Oliver frowned, a hint of apprehension in his eyes. "What do you mean?" Is this about why we didn't go to Dad's funeral? I took a deep breath, the truth poised on the tip of my tongue. It's about more than that. It's about who you are, and the secret your father kept to protect you. As I laid out the documents, photographs, and Charles's letter on the coffee table, the boys leaned in, their initial curiosity turning to shock as they began to piece together the puzzle. This can't be right, Ethan stammered, picking up one of the birth certificates. Are you saying we're adopted? That Uncle Thomas and Aunt Sarah were our real parents? Yes, I said softly, watching their faces closely. Your father, Charles, wanted to tell you many times, but he feared it might change how you saw yourselves, how you saw us as a family. Oliver was silent, his eyes tracing the words of Charles's letter. Finally, he looked up, his voice tinged with hurt. Why didn't he trust us with this? Did he think we couldn't handle it? It wasn't about trust, I explained, my heart aching for them. It was about love. He wanted to protect you from the pain, from feeling like you were different or didn't belong. But he realized, too late, that the truth was a part of you that deserved to be acknowledged. Ethan, always the more contemplative of the two, furrowed his brow. And what about you? Did you know? The question was a dagger, but I had braced myself for it. No, I didn't. Your father kept this secret from everyone except Mr. Penrose, the owner of the bookshop. I found out just today, through this letter and these documents. The room was thick with tension, a mix of betrayal, confusion, and a desperate need for understanding. It was Oliver who broke the silence. So, what now? How do we move forward from this? His question hung in the air, heavy with implications. I reached across the table, taking their hands in mine. We move forward as we always have, as a family. This truth changes nothing about how much we love you, how much your father loved you. It's a part of your story, but it doesn't define you. We face it together, learn from it, and let it make us stronger. The conversation stretched late into the night, a cathartic unraveling of years of hidden truths and unspoken fears. There were tears, moments of anger, and ultimately, a cautious step towards healing. Ethan and Oliver, with their newfound knowledge, were at the precipice of redefining their identities, but they were not alone. We were together, a family united not by blood, but by an unbreakable bond of love and understanding. As I watched them, deep in discussion and slowly coming to terms with their past, I realized that this moment, painful as it was, marked the beginning of a new chapter for us all. The truth, once unraveled, laid bare the strength of our family, a strength that would guide us through the uncertainties ahead. The morning after the revelation felt like waking up in a different world. The sun streamed through the windows, casting a warm glow over the breakfast table where Ethan, Oliver, and I sat in a contemplative silence, each lost in thought over the previous night's discussions. The air was thick with unspoken thoughts, the kind that linger after a storm, hinting at both destruction and the promise of renewal. I broke the silence, determined to steer us towards the latter. I've been thinking, I began, my voice steady, about what Charles would have wanted for us, for our family. Ethan looked up, his eyes searching mine. And what do you think that is? He would have wanted us to come together, stronger and more united than ever, I said, feeling the weight of my words. He made a mistake in keeping this from us, but in his heart, he was trying to protect us. Now, we need to honor his memory by facing the future as a family, one that understands and forgives. Oliver nodded, a determined look replacing the confusion from the night before. I agree. Dad, he did what he thought was best. But now it's on us to decide how we move forward. The conversation that followed was a balm to the wounds opened the night before. We spoke of practical matters, like reaching out to Mr. Penrose to learn more about our biological parents, and of emotional ones, like how we could rebuild the trust that had been shaken. It was a dialogue marked by vulnerability and strength, a testament to the resilience of our bond. I want to understand everything, Ethan said, his voice firm. I want to know about Uncle Thomas and Aunt Sarah, about their lives. I think it's important for us to embrace all parts of our story. I do too, Oliver chimed in, his usual reserve giving way to a rare openness. But I also want us to remember that we're still the same family. this doesn't change how we feel about each other, or about Dad." Their words filled me with hope, a sense that despite the upheaval, we could emerge from this stronger. "Then that's what we'll do," I said, feeling a resolve take root. "We'll learn about your biological parents, honor their memory, and continue to build our family on a foundation of love and understanding. We'll make this journey together, every step of the way." As we cleared the breakfast dishes, the atmosphere was lighter, charged with a new purpose. It was as if acknowledging the full breadth of our story had lifted a weight, allowing us to look towards the future with hope rather than apprehension. Later, as I watched Ethan and Oliver head out, presumably to the bookshop to meet Mr. Penrose, I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. They were approaching this with courage and an openness that many would struggle to muster. It was a testament to their character, and to the strength of our family. Sitting back with a cup of tea, I reflected on the path ahead. It would be fraught with challenges, of that I was certain. But in facing the truth together, we had found a new strength, a resolve to navigate the complexities of our story with grace and love. The journey of understanding and reconciliation was just beginning, but I felt ready for it, bolstered by the unbreakable bond that tied us together. This chapter in our lives, marked by revelations and resolutions, was a pivotal one. Yet, it was clear that it was not just an ending, but a beginning, a promise of new understanding, new growth, and a deeper appreciation for the ties that bind us, seen and unseen. As I looked to the future, I did so with a heart full of hope, ready to face whatever came our way, together, as a family. #### Chapter 6, The Journey Home. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity and discovery. Ethan, Oliver, and I delved into the past with a shared fervor, piecing together the mosaic of our family's history. We met with Mr. Penrose, who shared stories and photographs of Thomas and Sarah, painting a picture of their lives with vivid strokes of memory and affection. It was a bittersweet process, learning about the joy and tragedy that had preceded us, but it was a journey we undertook together, a testament to our newfound resolve. One afternoon, as autumn painted the world in shades of gold and amber, Ethan proposed an idea that would solidify our journey of reconciliation and remembrance. "I think we should visit the lake house," he said, the suggestion hanging in the air like a delicate promise. "It's where Dad loved to take us every summer. It feels right to go there, to remember him and to honor our biological parents." Oliver and I exchanged a glance, the weight of the proposal settling in. "I think that's a wonderful idea," I replied, feeling a mixture of excitement and nostalgia. The lake house had been the backdrop of so many family memories, a place untouched by the complexities of the world. The journey to the lake house was a quiet one, each of us lost in our thoughts as the familiar landscape rolled by. When we arrived, the sight of the tranquil water and the rustic charm of the house greeted us like an old friend. We spent the day there, talking, laughing, and remembering. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, we gathered by the water's edge, a bundle of letters and photographs in hand, mementos of Thomas, Sarah, and Charles. "I've been thinking a lot about family," Oliver began, breaking the silence. "About what it means to be connected, not just by blood, but by love, by memories. I think that's what we have here. A bond that's stronger, because of what we've been through." Ethan nodded, his eyes reflecting the fading light. "It's been a hard journey, but I feel closer to both of you than ever before. It's like we've rediscovered what it means to be a family." I looked at my sons, my heart swelling with pride and love. "Charles would be so proud of us," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "We faced the truth together, and it's brought us closer. We're honoring his memory and the memory of Thomas and Sarah by being here, by being together." As we released the letters and photographs onto the water, watching as they floated away, a profound sense of peace settled over us. It was a symbolic gesture, a way of letting go of the pain and embracing the love that remained. The drive back home was different, filled with plans for the future and reflections on the past. We talked about organizing a memorial for Thomas and Sarah, about continuing to explore our heritage, and about the ways we could keep the memories of our loved ones alive. As we crossed the threshold of our home, I realized that this journey had brought us full circle. We had ventured into the unknown, faced the complexities of our past, and emerged stronger for it. Our family, though reshaped by revelations and time, was more united than ever. The journey home was not just a return to a place, but a return to each other. We had weathered the storm of discovery and found a new beginning, a new chapter in the story of our family. And as we settled into the comfort of our home, I knew that whatever the future held, we would face it together, our bonds unbreakable, our hearts open to the endless possibilities of tomorrow. In the quiet reflection of the evening, I realized that home was not just a place, but a feeling, a sense of belonging and understanding that we carried within us. And as I looked at Ethan and Oliver, I knew that we had found our way home, not just to a house, but to each other, to a family rebuilt on the foundation of love, truth, and resilience. This journey, with all its twists and turns, had led us back to where we belonged, together, as a family.